everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. Oh, I'm so excited because I have a new catalog. I have new stuff to show you. So I'm going to show you a couple of projects in the next few days that are from the holiday catalog. But since you can't order from it till early September, I will go back and I'll do some things with designer series paper because it's on sale right now. So before we get started, I'll show you a couple things that you can, in case you missed them, you can go take a look at. This is for my card club. It does have some of the sale paper. So if you're interested in my online card club, you have till the 10th of this month to join. Super fun. Go watch this video. It will give you all of the details about that. And then this month, because the Country Wood Suite has 2 stamp sets, they have a bonus add-on they can do. And when you add on stamps and bundles and any additional things that we have each month to my card club, then you just pay catalog price. I pick up the shipping and the tax for you. So you can go watch that one as well. That's our bonus set. It's not the bonus project. And then today I am going to use my shimmer solution. So if you haven't caught any of those shimmer solution videos, I am going to put a playlist together of them. I just haven't gotten around to it yet because the new catalog came. That, you know, that just interrupts everything when you have a new catalog. So this one, I have shimmered all the paper. I'm going to use a little bit of pre-shimmered paper in today's video, so I wanted you to go and have a look. Then this is the holiday catalog. I can't show you the inside, but I can show you the cover. Is it not completely adorable? So I have, every time a new catalog comes out, I have a class. It's called a Try It class. And in that class, we do 10 projects together online. Each project has a video. There's a book kind of PDF with instructions and links and photos and measurements. It's a lot of work, this class, but it's so much fun. And it's especially as fun for you. Here's the first project. So if you are unfamiliar with my Try It, you can go watch this one. So 10 projects. They are all either templates or fun folds. You can see this one's a little easel. It's kind of a modified easel. Sometimes I start with patterns that I've seen elsewhere and I just kind of modify them. Sometimes I just start folding paper and see what we come up with. So this will tell you everything about the Try It class, and then you will get to see all the new ribbons, all the new embellishments, and 10, 11, 12-ish of the new papers if I can get more than one. Sometimes the specialty papers I can work on to another. But it's a great way, as the name implies, to try it. Some of the projects will have punches, folders, dies. I will be using this little house punch, I know, on one of the projects. So then if you need a catalog and you do not have a demonstrator and you're in the US, then let me know. If you're my customers, they shipped to me yesterday. So I'll have them probably middle to end of next week. And then I will have to get them all ready to send to you. Those of you that purchased from me in July, yours will be first because that's what I told you and that's what I will do. So those will be coming to you shortly. Then today, this is the stuff I'm going to use today. So if you watched my unboxing video and you heard me, if you didn't watch it, go watch it because you'll get to see all the new stuff. And I got all the new suites. I think all the new suites. I didn't have a physical catalog and it came yesterday afternoon. So I haven't really had a chance to sit down and play with it. But I did tell you that the first card I was going to do was a modified Try It class project from a past class. So I don't even see where that card is. But I did do it first. I did do it first in my world. Then I did this card and all the stuff's laying here. So I decided I will film this card first. So come back tomorrow to see the modified. So I'll just show you real quick, give you a little sneak peek of what you'll see when you come back tomorrow. So that will be the modified, and that will kind of show you when you do a Try It class and you get that fabulous PDF with all the projects in it, how you can take them and then continue to use it in the future. I think that one was from 2021 or 2022. I've been doing Try It classes since around 2020. So 4 years now. That's about 12 catalogs. So for today's card, I'm going to use Shepherd's Care because I think it's my favorite. This is my favorite. It's going to be difficult, guys, to choose what I do with my Christmas cards because this was my favorite stamp set as far as Christmas goes. But then the paper in the one I just showed you, I love that whole suite too. They don't really work together, so I'll have to kind of decide what I want to do. But this one has the shepherd. It has this little sentiment here that I will put on the inside. I didn't on my sample card. And the little Bethlehem. And then I love this little thing here. The Prince of Peace, Wonderful Counselor, Almighty God, Everlasting Father. I love that little medallion. It has stars. I didn't use the stars. And then this scripture is Christmas, but it will also be perfect for any sympathy cards that you make. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds from Psalms. So I'm going to use that. And then, because I wanted a stronger sentiment on the front of my catalog, right? So there's a couple of new sentiment sets, as there always is in the holiday catalog. And I really liked the Christmas, but I wanted to put the Christ back in Christmas. So I'm just going to use the Christmas and the Mary, and then we'll make the Christ part of it really stand out. So this card has no doubt that it's about putting Christ in Christmas. Then for the paper, this is a specialty paper, but it is part of a suite. It's not, sometimes, you know, our specialty papers are standalones. This one has 12 sheets. So you can see it's got reds, it's got olive. It has 2 olives. So the backs must be different on them. I thought that when I pulled it out a little bit ago, because I haven't really looked at it. Now it looks like it might be Misty Moonlight. And then the backs of them are great. So let's check out the, oh, look at that. There's more of this too. I don't know how many pieces there are in this. It's rather confusing. There's 12 pieces, so there must be 6 different designs. So this one has more of a splatter, and this one has more of a streaks. I wonder if that's the difference on this one too. See, when you do try it class, by then I've played with all this stuff, and we do go through all the papers in each video, the paper that we use. So by then I know a little bit more about them. All I did yesterday was rip out the piece of paper that was kind of the color that I wanted. So I went with the one that is the, I have dimensional backs everywhere. The one that's the basic beige, because it looks like the desert, right? And then I am going to stamp. We're going to do a little bit of a switcheroo on this card. You want to know why? Because I stamped my shepherd on some shimmer. Look how beautiful that stamps. On some paper that I had kind of pre-shimmered. If you've been watching, I've been using a white piece as my scrap. So this doesn't have shimmer everywhere. It just has some shimmer. So I stamped that. My intent, I know some of you are going to die, was to put it on this card. So it didn't really fit because the Christmas doesn't fit this direction. But see how pretty that is? These are the new gold dipped cards. And my star was a little crooked because, you know. So I ended up not using this because I wanted the arrangement to go this way. And that doesn't work with the night sky, right? There's potential. And especially if you're not going to use the other, then just go ahead and make this card and put one of the sentiments from the stamp set, and it would fit up here, and then you could kind of rearrange it. So I did this on white, and then when my card was done, I thought it probably would have been prettier on ivory or vanilla. So this one, I have a pre-shimmered piece here of ivory. And then I have some just regular gold foil, and then I have another scrap. So this is 5 1/4 by 4. So, you know, it leaves you that little end, and we're going to use that. So let's stamp. Like I said, this is stamp from the, what's it called? Shepherd's Care. Stamps so pretty. So if you start with really great intentions in September, making your Christmas cards, and you get about half of them colored beautifully, and then next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving, and you're like, I never got back to those. That's okay, I think, because especially if you do this one on shimmer paper, is it going to fit? Yes, there's no dies for it. Then you wouldn't have to color it in. You could just stick it on the card and let it be beautiful on its own. I want to make sure it get everywhere. Isn't that pretty? And so this is on shimmer. You wouldn't have to do anything else to it if you don't want to. It doesn't take very long to color though, because there's not a whole lot of colors on it. So we got that, and then I'm going to use Night of Navy, and this is from. This is also a little bit different. I'm going to put this on a piece of shimmer. My other one is on a piece of the Designer Series paper. And this is from the Peaceful Season. Oops, and I smeared that Y. Much better. And then I'm going to use, this is the paper. I'm going to flip it over because I did do this. I'll show you. I did this on white, and it was, again, too stark on the card. It would not be too stark on this one if you could get it to work. But yeah, I will figure a way to cover that up and still use that, because it's really sad when we do that, isn't it? You have one of those. And I knew when I was stamping on it, and I got the Bethlehem on there, and I'm like, look at me, I'm a good stamper. And then I thought my star was straight, and it was not. So for this, I'm going to give you a little tip. I'm gonna take my scrap paper and I'm going to lay it here because all I really want is the muss. Put it down here at the bottom, make sure it all fits, and I'll show you why. I had a couple of learning curves on this project. I love to, especially in card club, to teach you guys how to do stuff and for you to not mess up after I've learned something. So, you know, you can stamp Christmas. All we need is the muss. And so when I did really dark, now if you're doing a lighter color, you could stamp the whole thing. But when I did it, it added the glue, then it all smeared. See, let me show you. Look up close. So the blue just kind of ooged out. So then I decided I didn't need the whole thing. I just need that. One more thing to stamp. You're gonna take your piece of paper here. Now, if you stamp and it ends up on the gold foil, you're gonna need StazOn. But I found you can kind of twist these papers, and I cut 4 of them, and they would all twist. So there is a part that will work. So I'm gonna add my Bethlehem and put it right here where it's not gonna hit. It may mean that we have to kind of adjust where we put our Christmas, but it will work. So now I'm gonna just let that stuff have a second to dry. I'm gonna take this piece of gold foil and the Peaceful Season, I think that's what it's called now. I've covered it up with my scrap paper. It comes with the solid Christmas and then the one where I can cut this out. So let me run these through my die cut machine. All right, I went ahead and I trimmed that out with scissors as well, and then I trimmed this out, and then I run those through the die cut machine. So now let's color. I'm just gonna show you another little tip. Sometimes I like to die cut or to trim before I color, but then they kind of move around. Does that happen to you? But you know, our seal is repositionable. So I'm just gonna add a little bit there and stick that to my scrap. That will help it, since it's a smaller piece, from kind of moving around. So here are the colors I have. We also need to color in a little bit of our Bethlehem. Stick that there so I don't forget. So I have boho blue, dark and light. I have the dark night of navy. Then I have dark smoky slate. And then I have the 300 and the ivory. So really pretty much any kind of browns will work. Let's do this navy first because there's not much of it. I'm just going to do his little... So when you've shimmered the paper, if you haven't watched any of the shimmer videos and you remember our shimmery cardstock, it's very similar. So I use glycerin. I have these little bottles of stuff. Here it is separated. And then you just shake it. It's the Wink of Stella and glycerin. It gives you total control over where it goes on your paper. Unlike it, you know, I do love to spritz it. And people keep telling me, did you know you can do it? I do know you can do it. But this way it gives you total control over where you're going to go. And I'm going to take my dark boho. I'm going to use my brush tip. But if you remember working with our shimmery cardstock in the past, it kind of had a coating on it. So when you colored with blends, you know, they really seep through the paper. But they don't so much with this. So everywhere where those kind of dark shadings are, I'm going to put a little bit of dark boho. You do want to make sure that has dried all the way. That's why I die cut first. And then I'm going to take my light one with the brush tip. Just kind of fill this in. Make sure you leave a little bit of white for shading. There's a little bit of his robe straight through our little sheep there. But as long as your paper is nice and dry, none of the shimmer solution comes off onto your tips, and it colors really pretty. It also will save you a ton of Wink of Stella because the amount of stuff I've done so far with about a half a thing of it. And don't get me wrong, Wink of Stella coloring in an ink pad lid will forever be my favorite technique. But this way will save you a little bit of money on your Wink of Stella. So that this colored in. Then I'm going to go back with my dark now that it's had a little bit of time to dry. And first we'll go over another coat on his headdress. So I'm just using the two colors. So if I do this one dark, because the dark on dark does it a little darker, and then I'm going to just kind of lightly brush through with the dark there. And then let's go ivory, and that is obviously his face, which there is such a tiny bit of face that shows. And then I took my brush tip and I just kind of did some of the ground in a sandy ivory color. And then also on my little Bethlehem over here, I just made I didn't want it floating in air, so I just kind of extended the ground. And you're in luck because blends will color on the foil. So just add a little bit. Make sure it's not a dead straight line, because otherwise it still looks like it's floating on a rock. Then let's go to the 300. And this was just a brown color I liked in my thing, so I pulled it out. Any brown will do. And let's do the bullet tip. So there is a little bit of grass, and there are a little bit of, like the trees that you see in Tuscany, one of my favorite places in the world. I assume that's what they are in Bethlehem. So I thought about getting a green and adding it, and then I thought, no, I really like the two tones. I like it to look those colors. So my trees, I just didn't color him. And let's get his beard. I missed a little bit of his collar there. Now switch to brush tip. You need to be careful when you do this that you don't get the little sheep's feet. So I kind of blend in. And let's go to our dark smoky slate. Kind of thought about switching to the light since this is on vanilla, but I'm only going to kind of put it just a little bit over where, again, the Stampin' Up! Artist has put the shading. So it just gets a little bit, and then add some little dots. And I'm going to switch to the bullet tip. And get her little hooves. I don't know why I think they're girl sheep. I guess because they're cute. And when you do that, it really kind of helps highlight their legs because they get a little lost in there. More on this vanilla paper, I can tell, than it did on the white. Let me get its color before I forget. And since I have this out, I will just go back with one quick stripe through the highlight. So you don't need a ton of blends to get started, because every time you color over one, you just get a little bit darker. Now I'm going to take my, my color lifter, and I'm going to lighten up some of the areas. So just put it on there. You can't see that it's doing anything at first, but you can see there how it starts to lighten up some of the areas. And if you do it in these spots where you left the white, a little bit of the color will bleed into where there's no color. So I can leave my little highlighted areas maybe larger than I might if I wasn't using the color lifter. I don't use it on every project. It just kind of blends it all together. And it's nice and shimmery. Then make sure that there's no blue on here. It doesn't usually pick up a color, but sometimes if you use blackberry or you use sometimes Night of Navy, any of those dark colors, then just a tad because it looks like that's dirty, but it's not. But you just want to make sure before I go to my all the way done coloring and then get my sheep and have, I don't want blue sheep. Little blue lambs. Okay. And then because I think this has kind of lost its definition, so I'm just going to go back. Night on Navy. This is dark again. Just go right back over the top of where I did it the first time. And then that's all of our coloring. So hopefully the shimmer is showing up on camera. It's not something that's overtly like, oh my goodness, that's sparkly. It just adds a little bit of texture to the paper. It's lovely. So we have that. Now let's make our little saying. I have found that the top of the eye is sticking every single time in there, which is perfect. This was just one pass through, not even back and forth, just one. So pull this out. And then if you're short on gold foil, don't cut this. Just put a piece of scrap there. You don't want to put nothing because that's not good for your plates. If you're just doing it once, you can. But if you're going to, make 50 Christmas cards, you don't want to cut an empty spot of a die 50 times. And so here's the part that we stamped. And then I'm just going to take my fine tip glue. You would, especially if you have stamped this, you don't want to use any other glue because it will smear out the edge. This is very fine. This part's a little bit easier to do when you have the words on there, but it's not worth them smearing, and it doesn't take a lot of glue. So you just want to make sure that matches up. And then I'm just going to add, I didn't want that to be on there any longer than it needed to be because when it's wet is when it starts to bleed. So it got that blue on there, but when it was all stamped, then it just bled because by the time I got to this, I went that way on it. It was kind of wet and it smudged out. I'll pop my little top of my eye out. If you don't have it, if you lose it, it doesn't matter. People will know it says Christmas. Turn that around. This is my favorite tip. So let's put this together. There's no ribbon on this card. Let me put the lid back on here before it dries out. I really wanted to use some ribbon, but it didn't work. I wanted to use this new ribbon if you missed the unboxing. Just look how pretty that would be on there, and it looks kind of like shepherd's, but there was no place to put the ribbon. So I'm like, just go simple, which is also nice if you're making this for your Christmas card design. It's not going to take up extra space in the envelope and cost you extra postage. So this is basic beige. So I'll put that on there, and then we're just going to go ahead and stick all this together. Before I do that, let's stamp the inside because when you're stamping with words, it's very easy to have them be crooked or something you're not pleased with. If you stamp this here and it's crooked, then just flip your card over and put this on the top of your mess up. Hopefully I won't mess up, but if I do, then I can show you. But it's just, if you're going to put words, especially when they're tiny like this, and you want to make sure that you don't have any missing letters, just do it first. So this says, praying that you will feel the Good Shepherd's care in this season and throughout the coming year. And then I'm just going to take the star. I would probably do this in beige or navy if I was making my Christmas cards. Maybe even emboss all of this in gold. But I'm just going to add that star there. Now, since I know that I'm good, I can go ahead and put my adhesive and glue all this together. Now, remember I told you my Bethlehem is in a little bit of a different place. So before I stick all this on here, I do like the vanilla better. I just want to make sure that it's going to fit. Could probably do it a little bit higher on this one. Okay, I'm going to make him go all the way to the edge as that's also what he needs on my other card, because, you know, I tried to do it the other direction and it was not fitting at all. So I'm going to put this all the way to the edge and then see. That's going to go there. This also needs the, helps if you have the fine tip glue. That's why you want to know where it's going to go before you start. And then I have the Mary that I cut out of a little piece of shimmer white. I'm going to take this, that's how I did the other one too. And you just, I want it to be raised up, but it's very tiny, so just take the strip, these are from the mini dimensionals, and just cut the edge till you get a piece. We have the sticky strips as well. If you're in Card Club, that's been in the 6-month loyalty gift. When you're in my Card Club every 6 months, after you're in for 6 months, so on the 7th, the 13th, all those months, they get a goodie bag that's filled with, mostly it's been adhesives this year, and the bag says Card Maker Extraordinaire. So you could use the sticky strip, but you can also use this if you don't have any. So I'm just gonna put the Mary right there. Stick this lid back on. And then I didn't know which embellishments to use, because the ones that I had just used, the ones I'm going to use on the card that I'm filming next, are these. And those would be beautiful, but I just used them. So I went with these. These are the, in these colors, the Regal Foiled Adhesive Back Dots. They're all the same size. So that made it nice and easy. So I went with the blue, which I think is Misty Moonlight. But in our embellishments, often any color that's similar will work. And I just added 3 extra stars to the sky. So here it is in the vanilla. And placement on this is going to be based, unless you can use a StazOn if you want. That way you could stamp your village everywhere. But even then, it's a little bit tricky to stamp on foil. So you might want to practice on the back of this, if that's what you want to do. Because then you could put it, ideally, I would like this a little bit higher so it looks more like he's looking towards it, but I think it works. Here it is in the white. So in this one, this is pretty stark. I think this kind of tones it down a little bit. I did use a lot more of the color lifter on this. I might go back and do that before I take a picture of it. And then this is Mary and that's Mary. I kind of like this Mary better. Maybe I'll pull that off. You know, it's always fun when you get to make 2 projects and you want to tweak them up a little bit to see what you like. So if you need a catalog, if you're interested in my Try It class, if you need to go watch the shimmer, if you want to watch the unboxing video, I have so much stamping goodness for you this weekend. If you want to just sit by the pool or sit at the campground and watch some stamping videos, you can start making that list. Have a great one. Bye.